have looked, it is few that have seen the lady who lives in the wood. Her forest of mystery, silent and serene, so witness to centuries stood. Maybe you'll look for her there, concealed in her green leafy lair. Confused by her glamour, you'll wander in a daze, although your intentions are good. I seek the witch of the wood, lady of forest and glen. Dark things howl at the gate, threatening women and men. Should you come to visit the heart of her land, with ravens and portents in mind, make certain you carry a gift for her in hand, and maybe this lady you'll find. Maybe you'll call to her then, while wandering the forest and fair, convinced that you're worthy and ready for the truth. You pray that her welcome is kind. I see the witch of the wood, lady of forest and glen. Dark things howl at the gate, threatening women and men. One day there are those who will come as foretold, to stand by her circle of stone, and bring her the questions the prophecies unfold. They hope they'll hear answers intoned. Maybe she'll speak to them then, enlighten the women and men. They won't be expecting the questions she will raise. She'll smile and then leave them alone. I see the witch of the wood, lady of forest and glen. Dark things howl at the gate, threatening women and men. Though many have looked, it is few that have seen the lady who lives in the wood. Her forest of mystery, silent, serene, so witness to centuries stood.
And welcome to Pagan FM. We're coming to you from South Jersey, the home of the Jersey Devil, and just outside of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. We just heard Witch of the Wood by Three Word Sisters off their album Third Time's the Charm. I've been a bit happy. It got a little warmer. Much of the snow we've had has finally melted, and the roads became safer to ride a bicycle on. and I've been riding back and forth from work for the past few days, which reminds me, if you're interested in physical fitness at all, I started the PaganFM fitness group over on Strava. Strava is an app you can get on Android or Apple. It's free. There are paid versions with more features if you want, but the basic app is free. The PaganFM fitness group is there. You can look for groups and find it. Right now, I'm the only member, so if you get there, you'll be, I guess, a founding member. No charge, nor will there be. It'll just be pagans who want to support each other on their fitness journey. And that's the only agenda. So if you want to get fit, I hope to see you there. You can do it cycling, walking, running, rowing, whatever. So something interesting happened this week. I was preparing one of my ritual tools. It's a new theme. And when I'm doing this, one of the things that I like to do is I actually like, if it's possible, to sleep with the tool as I'm getting attuned to it, or as it's getting attuned to me, however you want to look at it. And when I do, sometimes I have some dreams, and this time I did. Actually, that's for the past few nights. I'm not going to share all the details, but I think I'll share the theme. In this dream, something was happening, something was going missing, some people were getting lost, and in this dream, I had the ability to correct it, but only by going back in time, and only if I was properly prepared. I found this hugely important because I haven't recalled my dreams probably for the past few months, at least the past few weeks. And with this tool beside me, it was like my spirit was saying, hey, we've got an important message for you. And the message was fairly clear, that there's still some work to do regarding the past, my past. But the tools are there to effectively manage what needs to be done. And this ritual tool may well be part of that work. Certainly, it seems to have been a catalyst for the messaging. And that's why we sometimes use ritual tools. Again, are they always necessary? Absolutely not. But they do act as focal points. And new artists this week. This week we're going to welcome Three Weird Sisters to the lineup. Three Weird Sisters actually is 4 women, and they have some great music. As you just heard, we're going to hear a little more from them right after we take a look at the weather, which is more interesting here for South Jersey. So the National Weather Service has issued a winter storm warning for the area. I'm going to read the one for the Philadelphia area, and this is for Delaware, Philadelphia, Western Chester, Eastern Chester, Western Montgomery, Eastern Montgomery, Upper Bucks, Lower Bucks, including the cities of Doylestown, Morrisville, Kennett Square, Pottstown, Westchester, Oxford, Norristown, Media, Philadelphia, Collegeville, Chalfont, Percasey, Lansdale, and Honeybrook. And you could just include all of South Jersey. As you get closer to the shore, it's going to get even worse. So winter storm warning in effect from 7 a.m. Sunday to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Monday. For South Jersey, set that to be about 10 a.m. So 10 a.m. on Sunday. So what to expect? Heavy snow expected. Snow accumulations between 10 and 16 inches for South Jersey. You can bring that up to about 18 inches as you get closer to the shore, probably closer to 20 inches, where a portion of southeastern Pennsylvania and the warning for southern Jersey and pretty much the entire coast up to Massachusetts will look very similar. When from 7 a.m. Sunday to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Monday, again, as you get further north, it's going to extend a little bit further out. Impacts. Travel could be very difficult to impossible. Areas of blowing snow could significantly reduce visibility. The hazardous conditions could impact the Monday morning and evening commutes. Additional details: snowfall rates could exceed 2 inches per hour. Locally higher snowfall amounts possible. Blowing and drifting of snow and whiteout conditions possible. Precautions. If you must travel, keep an extra flashlight, food, and water in your vehicle in case of an emergency. The latest road conditions for the state you are calling from can be obtained by calling 511. For the moment, we are looking at a possible 10 to 16 inches of snow or more when this is done by the end of the day on Monday. So, for me, that means I could be off my bike for a bit longer. Tonight, we can expect a low of about 31 degrees with partly cloudy skies, then a chance of rain. Coming into Sunday, it'll be 38 with rain turning into snow. Sunday night, lows will be around 28 degrees, starting with a rain and snow mix, then blowing snow. Monday, we can expect snow during the day, clearing out by Monday night with a low around 23 degrees. On Tuesday, it'll be mostly sunny with a high around 32, dropping to around 21 on Tuesday night. And on Wednesday, temperatures will likely be warming once again as we approach 40 degrees and partly sunny skies. And I have no idea how much snow we're going to finally wind up with or how long it's going to stay on the ground. Hopefully, it's not going to be nearly as long as this last storm. For now, we're going to listen to a little more music, and then we'll get into our first topic, kind of an Understanding Paganism 101. But let's hear some music right now.
Sky and sheds its light upon the path that takes us far from worldly eyes. Yes, we will be there soon. See in the distance welcoming, there stands a woman and a man who bid us join their fairy ring and draw down the moon. With fire and water, earth and air, now we step the circle fair. Water and fire, air and earth, of love and life and death and birth. Air and earth, fire and water, the old ones watch us lest we falter. Earth, air, water and fire, let wisdom rule our heart's desire. In circles from the dawn of time, the ancients on the moor and heath gathered being of one mind to beg God's boon. Now candles burning fragrant embers, brilliant as our strong belief, all listen while the Lord remembered draws down the moon. With fire and water, earth and air, now we step the circle fair. Water and fire, air and earth, of love and life and death and birth. Air and earth, fire and water, the old ones watch us lest we falter. Earth, air, water and fire, let wisdom rule our heart's desire. In mantle of another college, the lady turns and speaks to all, reminds us of our inborn knowledge, often lost too soon. Seek me and you will not find me, if on empty hearts this falls. See me in yourself before you draw down the moon. With fire and water, earth and air, now we step the circle fair. Water and fire, air and earth, of love and life and death and birth. Air and earth, fire and water, the old ones watch us lest we falter. Earth, air, water and fire, let wisdom rule our heart's desire. Feed belly as you feed the mind, with honeyed cake and honeyed kiss. Sip ambrosia wine, dance gaily, sing a rousing tune. We bid the quartered gods adieu, the circle opened, all dismissed, but monthly we shall all renew and draw down the moon. With fire and water, earth and air, now we step the circle fair. Water and fire, we falter. Earth, air, water, and fire. Let wisdom rule our heart's desire.
Chill winds blow in, and there's flurries of snow. Into the woods the wren boys will go. The smallest of birds with feathers of brown, with their bows and their arrows, they'll hunt the wren down. 13 notes between the winter and the spring. In the holly and hedgerows, hear the druid birds sing. At the coming of Yuletide, the hunt will begin. For the wren, king of the birds, king of the birds. Flushed from the bramble and chased from the gorse, with sticks and with stones, taken by force. The quest for the wren, as he draws his last breath, of ribbons paraded in death. "13 notes between the winter and the spring." Being a trickster, his cunning hidden beneath seasons in your song. I'll listen, tiny bud, as you sing all winter long. The pattern that you wove high above the ground, why try to win with strength when there's wisdom to be found? 13 notes between the winter and the spring. In the holly and hedgerows, hear the druid birds sing. At the coming of Yuletide, the hunt will begin. For the wren, king of the birds, king of the birds. For the wren, king of the birds, king of the birds. For the wren, king of the birds, king of the birds.
All right, and welcome back. So we heard Three Weird Sisters with Draw Down the Moon from their album Hair of the Frog, and we heard Spiral Dance from 13 Notes, the title track from their album 13 Notes. So last week in our Practical Pagan segment, I wanted to touch on tools when I spoke about ritual. I missed that. But we'll be getting into things a bit differently because this week, in response to some listener requests, I'm launching a series that I'm calling Understanding Paganism. This will consist of on-air lessons and on-air ritual over time. With each of the Sabbats, I'll be performing a ritual during the show on the Saturday prior to the actual date. The first one of these will be Ostara, which will be on March 21st. So I will be doing that ritual on the air on March 14th, in time for you to have something of an idea of something you might be able to do if you want to celebrate on your own. This is especially helpful for solitaries who maybe haven't done ritual before. As part of this series of lessons, I'm also working on writing a book. Tentatively, I'm calling it the PaganFM Book of Shadows. It'll contain the lessons that I'll be presenting in the lessons that I'm producing here, and the rituals that I'm presenting, and more information as well. When that's ready, I will let you know. For now, let's briefly talk about tools which I hadn't spoken of last week, and I kind of wanted to. And I'll be really brief. What do you need for tools to start? Absolutely nothing. If someone's telling you that you need to spend hundreds of dollars on a chalice and an athame and this and that and an incense burner and whatever else, you can spend a ton of money and you don't need to. But if you want to start practicing paganism and you want to spend money, you can, but you don't need to. You don't need a robe. You don't need an altar. You don't need a wand or a chalice or anything. What you will need is your mind and your desire. As these lessons continue, I'll go over the tools. I use some myself. And as I mentioned, some of the things that I use, you can choose to acquire some of them if you like to or not. It's up to you. But remember, the effectiveness of what you do is not dependent on how much money you spend or on the ritual gear or the robes or anything else. Your tools are only there to help you focus, nothing more. And that's lesson number 1. If at some point you're working with or teaching others, the tools might help people with their focus as well. That's fine too. If you start using them to impress other people, then they've gone beyond their intended purpose, and you might be letting your ego get in the way. At that point, you might want to look at your motivations. And if you see people who are practicing and who are putting their egos on display, you might want to consider what type of relationships you may or may not want to have with these people. Personally, I'm more attracted to the sort who aren't all about the showmanship. That's just me. Anyway, enough about tools for now. I'll get started by talking about my own path, what I plan on teaching in these segments, and then we'll look at getting ready for Astara, which will be coming up in just a few weeks. Before that, though, a brief definition of paganism might be in order. So what is paganism? Paganism is simply a form of religion that recognizes that we are connected to the world in a deeply spiritual way. It focuses on the spiritual energy of the earth, the sun, the moon, the stars, and the universe, and it sees this energy as the ancient gods and goddesses that were recognized as our ancestors recognized them. Pagans can practice a variety of religions, including Wicca, Druidism, heathenry, or Reconstructionist faiths of various kinds. In my own history, I've practiced some forms of Wicca and Druidism, as well as Christianity. And I practice today what some people might call a form of eclectic Wicca or eclectic paganism. It's kind of my own thing based on the traditions that I've studied. And I'm influenced by my own family heritage. That's not to say that I'm part of a family tradition. I'm not. But my family heritage is from Brittany in France, also from England and some other parts of Europe. So coming from there, I feel some affinity with Celtic Wicca because Brittany is a very Celtic part of France, and it's very closely related to Wales in the UK. So that's where I'm coming from. What am I going to teach here? Over the course of these lessons, over the seasons of a year, I'm planning on presenting enough information so that anyone who goes through this will be competent to be able to do their own rituals, to cast a circle, to confidently hold a ritual, to be able to help someone else when they're asked for help. In short, if you stick with these lessons for a full year, you'll have the same amount of information that you would have if you went to weekly meetings with any pagan group. When I say that I'll be talking about my own style of paganism, that's precisely what it is. It's not the right way to be a pagan. It's not the only way to do it. And it doesn't mean that if you're doing this, that you can't do anything else. By all means, explore. Look at other things, and not just paganism. Follow your own path. Do your own thing. If you don't feel that this is right for you, that's absolutely fine. What's right for me isn't necessarily right for you. Cal, or Aidan Odinson, who used to host a podcast called The Secrets in Plain Sight, used to say, religion is like underwear. What's right for me may be totally inappropriate for you. And he was right. So my advice is simply this. Do what's right for you, and don't be coerced into any religion. Don't believe anyone who tells you that their religion is the one and only religion that's right for you. Even among Christianity, you'll find that there isn't a single Christian denomination that isn't declared heretical by at least one other Christian denomination. So with that, how do we know that we are where we are supposed to be? We go by where we feel called to be. We go by where we feel right. We go by where we feel that our heart is where it belongs. And with that, let's get back to what we're doing here. What are you going to need to start? I said we don't need any tools, and I meant that. But what we do need to get started, at least for the purposes of these lessons, is a notebook and a pen. Or a pencil. Some people might call this a book of mirrors. I'll call it a journal. When you're doing the assignments in your journals, please don't just rush to answer as quickly as you can. Spend some time in meditation. Think about what you're doing. Try to go beyond the simple and the obvious. Spend some time with your heart as well as your mind, and not rush into things. But let's start with a simple assignment to get into the habit of journaling, and that'll be a part of your journey here. So, since this is a podcast and we're not sitting at a table together, I'm not going to be waiting for an answer, but if you don't have a notebook handy, that's fine. You can come back and listen to this. Look at your whatever software you're using and note what time this is so you can come back to it. There's going to be, I think, 2 assignments on this one. So right now, this is at 32 minutes, 28 seconds in the podcast. So assignment number 1. For your first assignment in your journal, I'd like you to spend a few minutes writing about why it is that you want to journey on this path and what it is that you expect to get from it. Pretty simple. There might be as many reasons that some people come into paganism as there are people. Some people come as a rejection of toxic and controlling religion. Some people come because they see paganism as liberating. Some come for a connection to something more pure and honest. Some come because they're looking for a connection to their ancient roots. Others might have been intrigued by something they saw in television or film or something they read. Some might have been influenced by friends. Most of us, though, once we've been studying for a while, find that there's much more here than what we expected when we first took a peek through the doors. There are different ways to approach paganism, too. There are what some might call more traditional forms, British traditional witchcraft, initiatory traditions, solitary traditions, and I suppose that what I'm doing here is something of a blended tradition. There are lessons and there will be something of an initiation, but it's also a blend of teacher-student relationship, but with distance learning. It's unique. We'll see how it goes. What did I get from paganism? Well, I'm kind of glad you asked, assuming you asked. For one thing, I grew up in an abusive religious environment, and I found myself in a series of abusive churches. And sadly, I found myself in at least one abusive pagan group. But I did find other pagan groups that were not. What I found in paganism, though, is a deep connection to nature, a recognition that I am a part of something that is inseparable from the universe. Every part of my body, every cell, every atom was a part of some star, part of the Big Bang. Part of me was alive in some other being, or in the wind, or in the rain, or in the sunlight. Honoring this is both a responsibility and a privilege. When I celebrate the circle of the seasons, when I recognize the gods and the goddesses, when I give thanks, I am honoring everything that made me everything that I am. I'm honoring my parents and my ancestors. I'm honoring the land that is giving me sustenance today. And I'm honoring the earth from which my ancestors came and to which they went. That's why, as part of my practice, I try to have at least one item, when I perform ritual that brings me back to the part of the world I wish to honor. Because I find a deep connection to Brittany, that northwestern part of France, I have salt that comes from the northwest of France that I use during ritual. This is part of the world where my ancestors came from, and it makes sense to me to have that connection. I'm not saying that you have to do that. I'm just saying that's something that's important to me. When you might practice ritual, do you think you might like to have with you that could be a connection to your own ancestors. You may or may not know your own heritage, and that's okay. If you don't, what part of the world might call to you? Even if you do know but don't feel a deep connection to your own heritage, is there some part of the world which you do feel some sort of connection to? What might represent that connection? Here are some ideas. Perhaps it could just be a piece of wood from that part of the world. Perhaps it might be a piece of driftwood you found on the beach. You don't even know where it came from, but it has meaning to you. You could use a piece of wood as a wand or a pentacle or just a decorative piece. It could be wax from which candles are made, or crystals from that part of the world, or wine or water or incense, or paper, or even a photograph that you might have printed from your computer. Perhaps what you feel an affinity for isn't here on Earth. It might be the pillars of creation that you have seen from one of the NASA photographs. It might be the moon. That's okay too. It's about what you feel connected to, what it is that feels like home to you. It's that place on Earth or in the universe that calls to you, that grounds you. The only caveat here is that the more obscure and distant, you'll be challenging your own creativity when it comes time to incorporating that item into ritual. And that's not a bad thing, it's just a thing. And now assignment number 2. And just looking at things here, that's at 38 minutes and around 10 seconds or so. It's time to journal about the item that you chose. So, what did you choose? And why did you choose it? What does it mean to you? Since you chose it for a sacred purpose, why is it sacred to you? How do you expect this object to help you on your sacred journey? Spend some time with it. Try to understand it. And if it isn't something that stays with you forever, that's okay. It can change. This isn't something that has to be permanent, but it's a starting point. One of the questions that many people have when they start this journey is, when do I actually call myself a pagan? So let's explore that. You're actually going to answer that for yourself over the next week in assignment number 3. Over the course of the next week, try to pick a time during each day and ask yourself, what does being a pagan mean to me? If someone were to ask you what religion you were, would you be able to say, I'm a pagan or I'm a Wiccan? Try saying it to yourself and see what it feels like. Write down how you feel when you say it. Does it feel liberating? Does it feel strange? At some point, there will be a time when you will find yourself either committed to the path, indifferent, or ready to turn away. Those are all okay. These are all valid. You won't find me trying to convince anyone to stay. Like I've said, I was in cults in my day, and the idea of compelling someone to remain where they don't wish to be, that's the stuff of cults. That's a game I don't want to play with anyone. Anyone is free to come and free to leave and free to return or not. And they can still remain friends so long as they remain kind. But while you're here, how does it feel when you choose to stay? How does it feel when you say you're studying Wicca or paganism? Is there some guilt, perhaps? If you were raised as a Christian, is there some trepidation? Write about that. Where is that feeling coming from? Do you think it's worth exploring? Paganism is about liberation. It's about connecting to nature. It's not about abandoning morals, but it recognizes that arbitrary morals and rules can be dangerous. For centuries, churches, religions, and governments acting on behalf of religions have imposed laws on people and killed, maimed, and tortured countless people for breaking laws against these religions. Such crimes as marital laws, heresy, blasphemy, witchcraft, homosexuality, sorcery, and others. There are still parts of the world where people such as us could be jailed or killed for simply practicing paganism or Wicca, or what some might call witchcraft. In fact, the last law against witchcraft was not repealed in England until June 22nd in 1951. We as pagans seek a religion that is not coercive but cooperative. Cooperative with each other, cooperative with the goddess and gods, and cooperative with nature. We hold no ill will towards Christians, and there are those who practice syncretic forms of Christo-paganism. Some of us see Christ and Jehovah as gods among gods. Some see them as other faces of gods. Some of us see the monotheism of much of Christianity as an attempt to control humankind. And in many instances, governments have used religion to control populations, to take over land and resources, and have even pitted different religious groups against each other. The above is one reason that I prefer decentralized religions, such as paganism and the Quaker faith, over the Catholic Church or the Church of England, or other large churches with central authorities. Where these larger churches can have greater resources and can monitor individual ministers and guarantee theological integrity, they are also possibly subject to more institutional corruption and government influence. It's a trade-off. And so I prefer locally run organizations that are committed to being open and candid. And that's what I'm trying to do here. Anyway, that was week 1, just the basics. On week 2, we're going to be talking about the circle of the year with a focus on Ostara, which is going to be the next Sabbath or the next celebration coming up. So let's hear a little more music, and then we'll get into our practical pagan segment.
If you look ahead through winter's chill, there is a stone house on the highest hill. Lady of the house has hair and hands of flame, and all throughout the countryside people speak her name. Tired friends from the fire of her heart, a mighty cauldron glows, hanging from the ceiling, healing herbs drying slow from the fire. And melody sung loud and Come to this house for healing hands. Come to tired friends. Past the anvil and the sacred well, tired traveler will sit a spell. The heart file there will keep him through the longest night. our tired friends.
All right. So we just heard Moonshine on Me by Drew Bako from his album Dreamcatcher. And we heard Song for Bridget by Featherscale from their album Gypsy Heart. So now it's time for our practical pagan segment. And this week I want to talk about building a pagan library. So most pagans that I've met like reading. We like books a lot. We like reading them, and we like collecting them. It may not be universal, but it's pretty darn common. There was a time that I would grab pretty much anything I could find from my local secondhand bookstore, and if someone was getting rid of some pagan books that needed a new home, I would adopt them. I had literally thousands of books before I moved down here to New Jersey, and sadly, I couldn't take them all with me. Walls and walls of shelves. They weren't all pagan. I had an electronics laboratory as well, and there were quite a few titles of electronics. But I would say that I had at least 5,000 pagan books in my library, pagan and occult. But that was when I had a separate studio and an apartment, and now my accommodations are a bit more modest, and I certainly don't have as much room, so I have to be more selective. But being selective is also a good thing. It means rather than quantity, I can focus on quality. The first book or the first few books that you should look at if you're building your own library aren't pagan books at all. Instead, they're a good dictionary or dictionaries, plural. If you're going to be embarking on a journey of deep study, a good dictionary is always important. And when it comes to paganism, there are a number of books that weren't originally written in English. Some of them have references in other languages, including Latin, Italian, Hebrew, French, and others. You might not run into these right away, but as you progress, it's worth considering investing in dictionaries from other languages as you come across these references. Certainly, you can use Google Translate or the more common online dictionaries, just as you can use ebooks instead of paper. But there's something magical, yes, pun intended, about using books made out of paper. They're simply more real. They seem to put you more in touch with the author. And the same kind of goes with dictionaries as well. They make the entire experience more real. And when it comes to a dictionary, try to have a good one rather than a simple college desk dictionary. One of the things that you'll run into is the problem of words that change meanings over time. One of the best dictionaries is the Oxford English Dictionary. The problem is that this tome is in multiple volumes. There is a compact edition in which these multiple volumes are microprinted into 2 volumes, and the whole kit is packaged with a magnifying glass in a convenient drawer in the case. The advantage of the OED is that it gives examples of uses of words throughout history. The problem with some of these is they are hugely expensive. And while I said before that having a book in paper is better than something on a computer or a cell phone, there is this one possible exception, and that's the OED. Because where the 2-volume behemoth is with the magnifying glass, while it's impressive, it's not necessarily up to date. What is up to date is the online OED, and you can register for that and have your own account. And as an example of why a good dictionary is important, I'll look at one word that we all know, a simple one. The word is girl. What does it mean? We all likely know that it is a female child. But at times throughout history, it could have meant a child of either sex. It's important when we're looking at early writings to not presume too much. Sometimes what a word means is really dependent on when the work was written. So, good dictionary, number 1. With that, let's look at a dozen or so books that I consider a good starting point for a pagan library, to get you going as you're starting out on this journey. What your library will look like will depend in part on where you are in your pagan journey. If you're just starting out, I'd recommend looking at books on various paths of paganism. Look for books on Druidism, witchcraft, Wicca, Strega, heathenism, Reconstructionist traditions, chaos magic, ceremonial magic, Kabbalah, but try to make these purchases quality purchases. Look for the sort of books that will offer some depth to the material. There are plenty of authors out there that write books that are geared towards teenagers, and these are fine for teens. But if you're listening to this program, it's my hope that you're trying to develop something of a deeper understanding of what paganism means. You're looking for something of a deeper spiritual commitment rather than simply experimenting with Wicca. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but there's a difference in commitment level. For starters, I'm going to list some categories and some authors that I recommend. This doesn't mean that if I left someone out or left someone off that I consider them bad. It means that maybe I haven't read their work or haven't read enough to form an opinion, but the ones that I list here are works that I've read and I found them to be valuable or somewhat trustworthy or a good starting point. So, Category 1, historical works about paganism in general. First on this list is Margot Adler's Drawing Down the Moon. This is probably the best book about the history of the American neo-pagan movement that I've read. Margot was a journalist and a Wiccan high priestess. I enjoyed listening to her on NPR. She died a few years back, but Drawing Down the Moon will give you a huge amount of perspective on our history here in the U.S. Second one, this is a tough read, but it's James George Fraser's The Golden Bow. I've actually read, I think, 2 editions of this book. So there are multiple editions. The most complete is in about 12 or 13 volumes. I have not read that. I couldn't afford it. The one most commonly referenced is about 800 pages, and I did slog through it. There is a more concise illustrated version as well. That one's much easier to get through. The Golden Bow is an anthropological powerhouse that traces man's history of religion from magical thinking to modern times. The 800-page version leaves out his ideas on Christianity, in part because it was felt that it might have been offensive to Christians. But you will find this work referenced in a great many pagan works. And that's the reason that I read it. I saw it referenced everywhere, and I figured if it was referenced everywhere, I needed to read it. There's a lot of good information there. It is not an easy read, but it's worth reading, and it's worth having, especially if you're really looking to understand why so many people reference this work. Next up, Druidism. So my first on this list is Isaac Bonowitz's book, Bonowitz's Essential Guide to Druidism. Isaac Bonowitz was the founder of the ADF, or the Andriacht Fane, one of the more popular Druidic organizations in the world. He was also the only person to date that I know of to obtain a degree in magic from an accredited university. Consequently, he is eminently qualified to write about Druidism. When we're looking for books, sometimes we lie. Oh, sorry. My writing was a little bit off here. I kind of anyways, so let's just pretend I didn't say that. Next here, still in Druidism. Next up is Ellen Everett Hopman's Celtic Druidry, Rituals, Techniques, and Magical Practices. Ellen is the founder of the Tuatha Nadara, a Celtic Reconstructionist Druidic order in Massachusetts, and has authored numerous books. I've read a few of hers, none since I restarted the show, but she was also a guest on my show back when I was at WSCA in New Hampshire. So anyways, like most Druids, her works are well-researched and impeccably detailed. She has also been at various times a member of the ADF, the OBOD, and other Druid organizations. Next up is Wicca. So first here, anyone who's been around for a while will recognize Raymond Buckland's book, Buckland's Complete Book of Witchcraft. Again, almost everyone who has been involved in Wicca for more than a few years will know of Uncle Bucky's Big Blue Book, encyclopedic in content and written by one of the early founders of Wicca. This book is one of the most recommended books about witchcraft and Wicca there is. If you want to know something about Wicca, it is likely to be in this book. Isaac Bonewits again, Bonewitz's Essential Guide to Witchcraft and Wicca. Where Buckland's book is encyclopedic, Bonewitz's Essential Guide is what it purports to be. It's the essentials. It's what you need to know. It's not everything you might ever want to know, but it will certainly give you a fair understanding. If you've been invited to attend a Wiccan gathering and you have time to read Bonewitz's Essential Guide, you'll at least have something of an understanding of what's going on when you get there. You won't be in the dark unless the lights are out. Next up is Christopher Penczak's Temple of Witchcraft series. Years ago, I reviewed Christopher's first book, Inner Temple of Witchcraft, and I was thoroughly impressed. I appreciated that in his first book, he looked at the inner work that a student needs to do to understand what's going on inside their own being. That is the foundation of any spiritual path. From there, one can move to the outer temple. I highly recommend this series. Then is Scott Cunningham's Wicca, a guide for the solitary practitioner. And this is the text that brought Wicca to those who could not find access to a coven. We reviewed this a couple weeks ago. It provides, in simple terms, a means for anyone to practice Wicca in the comfort of their own homes. It provides the reader with access to knowledge, spells, tools, and ritual structure to embrace a nature-based religion in a world where finding an authentic teacher might have been otherwise difficult. Then there is Janet and Stuart Farrar's A Witch's Bible. Having been initiated into the Alexandrian tradition, when Janet and Stuart Farrar wrote this book, they technically broke an oath. But in so doing, they brought much information into the world which might have otherwise remained secret. It was also argued that in so doing, they were correcting information that was erroneous. This book is a complete course in Wicca in one bound volume, comprising pretty much everything that one might need to know to form an Alexandrian-esque type coven. It includes a book of shadows, spell work, rituals, all one needs. Next up is something that is Wicca adjacent. So, Starhawk's The Spiral Dance, a rebirth of the ancient religion of the great goddess. So I put this, excuse me, my asthma might be acting up a little bit. I put this book in a category adjacent to but separate from Wicca because while it brought many, including myself, to Wicca, it's more about goddess religion than it is about actual Wicca. First published in 1979, I read it while I was still in the Air Force. It has sold over 100,000 copies, and it is another of those classics which will soon have its own review on this program. So I'm not going to go too deep into it, but again, it's Wicca adjacent and very much goddess oriented. Next up, we'll talk about Italian witchcraft or stregoria. So Raven Grimassi's A Grimoire of Italian Witchcraft. This book, published posthumously by Crossed Crow Books, offers a really good overview of Italian witchcraft. I'm partway through it right now, and we'll be discussing this one also in a few weeks. While Italian witchcraft is not and will not be my path, this book, along with the next in the list, offers a good overview. And this next one is Charles Godfrey Leland's Aurelia, or The Gospel of the Witches. This is a huge classic work, and one in which you'll find this one referenced in many works as well. Some of this book has found its way into the liturgies of many covens. First published in 1899, its impact on Wicca cannot be understated. If you read it, some of it you might find a little bit objectionable. It speaks sort of, it's almost sounding like it's antagonistic towards the gods and God, or towards the goddess, towards Diana specifically. And it's just kind of a thing with Italian witchcraft, and not the sort of thing that, it's not the way I do things. Let's just leave it at that. But it had a huge impact on Wicca. It had a huge impact to the last group that I was in, and much of the liturgy of the last group that I was in actually came straight from this book. Then, lastly, we're going to look at a book on paganism in general, and that's going to be Joyce and River Higginbotham's book, Paganism, An Introduction to Earth-Centered Religions. And I think this early on was one of the better introductions to paganism in general that I came across. It's easy to read, easy to understand, and presents a good amount of relevant information. It covers the fundamentals, the pagan year, and rituals and practices. It's a good starting point. I could go on, but this list could be huge, and it would make this a very long show. If you're looking for more ideas, just keep listening. Each week, I will be reviewing something. So, in a year, that's about 50 titles. So, wouldn't be a bad start to building your library. So we'll listen to a little more music, and then we'll get on to tonight's review. And I didn't even mention this one in this list, so you can add one more to this list in a few minutes. So let's hear a little more music.
Day and find her soul to find that fears allayed. Tried to make her love their own. They took her love, they left her there. They gave her nothing back that she would want to own. Gold and silver rings and stones dances slowly off the moon. No one else could know she stands alone. Sleeping dreams will reach her. She cannot say the words they need. She knows she's alone and she is free. Ocean gypsy of the moon, the sun has made 1,000 nights for you to hold. Ocean gypsy, where are you? Shadows followed by the stars have turned to gold, turned to gold. Then she met a hollow soul, filled him with her light and was consoled. She was the moon and he, the sun, was gold. Eyes were blinded with his light. The sun she gave reflected back the night. The moon was waning, almost out of sight. Softly ocean gypsy calls, silent holds the stars a while. They smile sadly for her where she falls. Just the time before the dawn, the sea is hushed, the ocean calls her. Day has taken her and now she's gone. Ocean gypsy of the moon, the sun has made 1,000 nights for you to hold. Ocean gypsy, where are you? Shadows followed by the stars have turned to gold, turned to gold. She died, ocean gypsy shackled to the tide, the ebbing waves, the turning, spreading wide. Something gone within her eyes, her fingers lifeless stroke the sand. Her battered soul was lost, she was abandoned. Silken threads like wings still shine, wind snake pleasures still make patterns in a lovely hair so dark and fine. Stands on high beneath the seas, cries no more, her tears have dried. Oceans weep for her, the ocean sighs. Ocean gypsy of the moon, the sun has made 1,000 nights for you to hold. Ocean gypsy, where are you? Shadows followed by the stars have turned to gold, turned to gold, turned to gold, turned to gold, turned to
Flash of the breast on the big screen, but no penetration or spark. Cut the claw from the tiger, defang the cobra so we can feel safe in the dark. Big money makes the decisions. Big money owns all the gods. And I can't help but laugh at the puzzled expression when I say I won't give to the cause. And is it any wonder something inside us dies? Is it any wonder that the spirit cries when we sterilize every sacred thing? Paved over meadows for strip malls or misguided notions of bliss. And I point to the universe shaking their shoulders saying, how can you need more than this? 5,000 years of repression, 5,000 years of the lie. And I can't help but hoping as I'm watching the changes that maybe we're watching it die. Maybe a hurricane's coming, or maybe it's just a soft rain. And I don't have the answers, but every part of my being is laughing or crying or screaming for change. And is it any wonder that the spirit cries? Is it any wonder something inside us dies when we sanitize every sacred thing? Every sacred thing, 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 every sacred thing.
All right, so we just heard Blackmore's Night with Ocean Gypsy from their album Shadow of the Moon. This is a great piece of music. I first heard it probably back around 1980, but not from Blackmore's Night, by instead a band called Renaissance, and it was on the album Scheherazade and Other Stories. If you get a chance to hear that, that's a great album too. After that, we heard Gaia Consort with Every Sacred Thing from their album Secret Voices. And sorry if my voice is a little bit weird. I just took some medicine for some asthma. As I stopped the last section, I noticed my voice was getting a little bit weird, and I may still be having a little bit of asthma right now. So we'll see how things go as I do the review. So tonight we're taking a look at Doreen Valenti's book, Natural Magic. This is another classic, though not as old as the work of Dion Fortune or Gerald Gardner, though Doreen did write much of Gardner's liturgy. Natural Magic is a book about magic. It's about witchcraft. And I'm noticing that I didn't put the publication data, but this was originally published, copywritten in 1975, first published in 1975 as an imprint of the Crowood Press in Wiltshire, England. So it's mostly a book about non-theistic magic, and it's broken down into about 12 chapters, which include magic of the mind, magic of the four elements, magic of herbs and flowers, magic of numbers, magic of colors, magic of talismans and amulets, magic of sex, magic of dreams, magic of weather, magic of the cards, magic of birds and animals, and traditional spells. Each of these chapters could easily be sufficient for a complete book, but Valenti does An excellent job in presenting enough information such that it may be useful to a reader. It's not mere hints, but there is enough information to be truly useful if one wishes to attempt to use each of these forms of magic. This book also provides a great deal of historical context and inline references should one wish to engage in further research. Valenti doesn't talk down to readers. Some readers might consider her language pretentious, but I would ask anyone reading her work to consider that she was an educated woman, writing in a time when education was valued, and she was writing to others who were as well educated in a classical sense, something which is kind of unusual today. Hers is a language and a tone that was once common among occultists prior to about the middle of the last century. When writing professionally, authors are usually required to write to a particular grade level. An academic research paper would likely be written at a graduate college degree reading level. Most of my writing here, I keep it at around a high school reading level, usually around grade 8, 9, maybe grade 10, depending on what I'm writing about. Some segments may go a little higher than that, but I try to keep things pretty easy to understand. At the other level of pagan and occult writing, we have Helena Blavatsky, who one takes with a stiff drink and multiple dictionaries. Doreen Valenti is kind of in the middle of that. Anyway, this is another one of those books that I am glad to have and I consider an important part of my library. So tonight in our Pagan FM Almanac, today is February 21st, and the waxing crescent moon is about 19% visible and 4 days past new. It will reach first quarter on the 21st. The sun is in Pisces as of February 19th. February 21st marks the conclusion of Parentales, begun on February 13th, which was an ancient Roman 9-day festivity. The festivity closes with the rites of Feralis. Ovid described Feralis as something of a placation and an exorcism and a cleansing ritual for a banquet in which bonds between a family and benevolent ancestors were celebrated. So, we'll hear just a little more music, and then we'll get into our herb of the week.
You are the rock, and you are the stone. Rivers your blood, mountains your bone. You are the source of all I'll ever know. Forever my mother, forever my home. Oh, this town is so cold. Neon magicians, they offer the fools their gold. For there is somewhere I'd rather be, in your wild places with the land and the sky and the sea.
monks and saints down to the shore, echoing waves and the curlews cry. I call out your name, I hear your reply. Oh, this town is so cold. Neon magicians, they offer the fools their gold. For there is somewhere I'd rather be, in your warm places with the land and the sky and the sea. Cynical thoughts and lies that distort all that is true, all that is true. They disappear when I feel that you're near, when I'm with you, when I'm with you. So cold. Neon magicians, they offer the fools their gold. For there is somewhere I'd rather be, in your wild places with the land and the sky and the sea. Na 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 na, 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 na 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 na. They offer the fools their gold. For there is somewhere I'd rather be, in your wild places with the land and the sky, in your wild places with the land and the sky, in your wild places with the land and the sky and the sea.
Sister made me go, half asleep and begging to know where you're going, what are you gonna do? Sister made it through. Sister, let me speak. Take your foot out and use your mouth to breathe. walk when you can fly? Why talk when you can sing? Sister, how will I ever show you you're halfway? Sister, shut me out. The margaritas, the mind chatter, and the random acts of doubt. Are you fighting me? Are you afraid to know? Sister, how will I ever show you you're I am always, but only now. I am one with the world, not just one with this girl. I will follow and I will lead. I'm your soul. I'm your soul. Sister, let me speak. Take your foot out and use your mouth to breathe. Why walk when you can fly? Why talk when you can sing? Sister, how will I ever show you you're halfway? How will I ever show you you're halfway? Sister, how will I ever show you you're halfway? How will I ever show you you're halfway? Sister, how will I ever show you you're halfway? How will I ever show you you're halfway?
And that was Dave the Bard with Land, Sky, and Sea from his album The Cauldron Born. And after that was Ginger Doss with Sister from her album Hand and Hammer. And I've got to spend some more time with that piece of music. I really like it. So in our herb of the week, tonight I want to talk about the snowdrop. So in many parts of the world, there is this little tiny flower that often blooms just as winter is ending and just before the vernal equinox. We know it as the snowdrop. Once native to Europe and the Middle East, it has become naturalized throughout Europe and North America. I've grown fond of seeing it here in springtime in New Jersey. There are a few different varieties, but they have made their ways into the hearts and words of poets, into mythology, medicine, and into spiritual lore. Medicinally, snowdrops contain an alkaloid called galantamine, which may be helpful in the treatment of Alzheimer's disease. While not a cure, anything that can help is worth investigating. Snowdrops have been considered as a possible candidate for the magical herb moly mentioned in Homer's Odyssey. When Circe when she tried to poison Odysseus, this plant moly, possibly a snowdrop, prevented the poison from working and thus prevented Odysseus from being turned into a pig. On their own, snowdrops are toxic, so I don't recommend consuming them. They won't turn you into a pig, and despite an alkaloid being considered for Alzheimer's treatment, the plant again is toxic. But that doesn't mean it isn't magical. Snowdrops are quite difficult to grow indoors. I think they require the cold weather to do their thing. They are decidedly outdoor plants. They are representative of transformation and grow when few other plants will, blooming in the harsh early spring weather with its obvious zodiac signs of Aquarius and Pisces. Snowdrops represent change and breakthroughs. They might be useful in the breaking of curses and for protection. Blooming around Imbolc, they can be associated with Brigid, Gaia, and Persephone. So, going on to our oppression watch. In something of a win, the Park Service has been ordered to restore the slavery exhibits at George Washington's house here in Philadelphia. It's a known fact that George Washington was a slave owner. I actually visited and saw these exhibits a while back, and these exhibits actually memorialize the fact that George Washington was a slave owner. It doesn't diminish what he did. It makes him a more complex, complicated person. So it contextualizes who he was. Did he do some important things? Absolutely. Was he a complex person who also did some bad things? Yes. So, in accordance with the Trump administration's attempts to whitewash history, those memorial exhibits were removed, partly in an attempt to sanitize the park for the upcoming 250th anniversary festivities. Fortunately, a judge overturned the Park Service's decisions and the exhibits were ordered to be restored. As of this week, that restoration has begun. I can only imagine the explanations that might have occurred when someone would have asked, "What's all of this glue residue all over these bricks? It looks like something used to be here." I'm not sure it would have been more or less effective to have people say, "Oh, that's where the slavery exhibits that the white nationalists don't want you to know about were." But they are being restored. I'm not sure how long they will remain. As we know, the Trump administration doesn't often let the rulings of judges hinder him when something matters a great deal to him. We recently saw in the aftermath of the Supreme Court striking down his tariffs that his response was to use another part of some law as a justification, and then he increased the tariffs even further because he was angry at the Supreme Court, meaning what we pay for goods bought from somewhere else are going to be even more expensive. Also, Kansas has enacted legislation, more bathroom bills, and a requirement that mandates that sex assigned at birth is going to be indicated on driver's licenses, making Kansas a much less safe place to be. Governor Laura Kelly had vetoed the Senate Bill 224, but a legislature bent on cruelty and bigotry overruled her and enacted this dangerous legislation. Basically, what they're saying is that if you're trans or intersex, you don't belong in Kansas. It's dangerous, and you won't be protected. They don't believe in civil rights for LGBTQIA individuals in that state. This is what the Trump administration and MAGA want. They want culture wars. The architects of Project 2025 are the same people who wrote the capital punishment for gay legislation in Uganda. And this is really the agenda they're going after here. But they know they can't pass it in one fell swoop. Instead, they need to enact things bit by bit until they hit a tipping point. And if we don't fight back, they may well win. So they'll do it one state at a time, one county at a time if they have to. And we have to be on guard, and we have to be willing to call things out, to make changes, to fight back, to win back, whatever we can, whenever we can, to challenge things in state courts, in federal courts, in the Supreme Court, if we can. Even if it's just person on person, to try and convince people that what they're doing is wrong. I don't know how else to do it. And in my mind, even though at times I really get angry and I want to lash out, if we don't do it nonviolently, it's going to be hard to win. So let's take it on nonviolently and do what we can. So we'll hear a little more music, talk about next week's show, and then we'll go for our closing piece. So let's see what we're going to hear. I'm going to look up and see what's in our library here and hear some more music.
Give me power, give me light in the dread of the dark. Give me strength to survive, to live to the edge of time. Spread your wings over me, spread your wings over me, spread your wings over me. Give me hope in the day, to send out the battle cry. Give me help in the battle, help me not to die. Spread your wings over me, spread your wings over me, spread your wings over me. Give me power of empathy. Give me strength of sympathy. Spread your wings over me, spread your wings
All right, so that was Magic Folk with their song Angel, which was kind of appropriate, at least, finding strength for the battle. And that was from their album Magic Folk. So next week, I'm going to be doing something a bit different in our review. So rather than reviewing a book that is specifically pagan, I'm going to be reviewing a book that is a work of fiction, but which features a character that is Wiccan, published in 2024 by a friend of mine. I figured it deserved a review slot. The book is called Saint Damned, and it's by Ty Drago, so we can look forward to that. In our Practical Pagan segment, I think I want to take a look at the concept of nonviolence in a pagan context. Is it possible? Certainly some forms of paganism have different views on this. In Italian witchcraft, for example, the idea is to harm not the innocent. In Wicca, it's harm none. But does that apply always? What if someone is endangering you or your children or others? Where is that line? Again, there are many views, and I don't claim to speak for everyone, so I'll be looking at it strictly from my own viewpoint. In our Understanding Paganism segment, we'll look at the pagan year with a focus on Ostara, which, again, is our next pagan holiday coming up very soon. It'll be our first on-air ritual in a few weeks. So we'll be getting ready for that. And for our herb of the week, I want to take a look at basil, which is a great herb to plant in the spring. So I think that's going to pretty much finish it up for this week. So let's hear something from Shining Wheel Pagan Chorus. This is Lady of the Moon from their album Chance of Balance. And blessed be.
Shine your light on me. Shine your light on me. Lady of the moon. Lady of the moon, shine your love on me. Shine your love on me. Lady of the moon. Lady of the moon, come and dwell in me. Come and dwell in me. Lady of the moon. Lady of the moon. Set my spirit free. Set my spirit free. Lady of the moon.
blessed be. Hail, farewell, blessed be.